Sometimes the loudest cries are the ones never spoken, and the deepest prayers are whispered only in silence. This is the story of a mother who gave the world everything she had, but the world never gave her back the same. A story of sacrifice, tears hidden in the corner of her dupatta, and a prayer that carried the weight her entire family. Tonight, I will take you into her journey, where love was her strength, pain was her companion, and silence was her only prayer. Shahida was married at the age of 18. She entered her husband Akram's house not with flowers and laughter, but with responsibilities far beyond her years. Her husband was a simple man, a daily wage laborer. His earnings could hardly fill the kitchen with food. The little house had walls of mud, a roof that leaked during monsoon, and a kitchen that smelled more of smoke than spices. But Shahida never complained. She would say softly, "Allah gives us what we can bear. Maybe my test is heavy, but my heart must stay strong." Every morning before the call of Fajr, Shahida rose. She swept the floor, fetched water from the well, and cooked a single pot of lentils that had to last the entire day. The neighbors often saw her standing on the rooftop, her dupatta covering her head, her lips moving silently. They thought she was talking to herself, but only Shahida knew. Those were her silent prayers. Poverty has a cruel habit. It makes mothers skip their meals so children can eat. At night, Shahida would place 3 rotis on the charpai for her children. Ayesha, her eldest daughter, noticed that her mother never ate with them. She asked, "Amy, where's your roti?" Shahida smiled and said, "I ate earlier, beta." But the truth was she hadn't. She would drink water and go to sleep hungry, just so her children's stomachs would be full. In her heart, she whispered again, "Lie Allah, keep their bellies full, even if mine stays empty." Among her children, Ayesha was different. She had a spark in her eyes, a hunger to learn. She would sit under the weak yellow bulb, reading her schoolbooks late into the night. Relatives mocked Shahida. "Why are you wasting time sending her to school? Girls are born to cook, clean, and get married. Books won't cook food in your kitchen." But Shahida stood firm. She told Ayesha, "Study beta. Don't listen to them. A mother's prayer will clear your path. One day, these same people will bow their heads before your success." Those words became Ayesha's fuel. One winter night, her younger son Imran fell gravely ill. His tiny body burned with fever. The doctor demanded money for medicine, money Shahida didn't have. She wrapped her son in a thin blanket, holding him close. Tears streamed down her face as she whispered, "Wallah, don't take my child. Take my life if you want, but not his. He hasn't even seen the world yet." She sat by his side the whole night, pressing a wet cloth on his forehead, whispering surahs under her breath. By morning, the fever broke. Shahida's eyes were swollen from crying, but her lips curled into a trembling smile. Once again, her silent prayer had been answered. Time passed. Shahida grew weaker. Her hands rough from washing, cooking, and sewing clothes for extra income. She stitched for neighbors, embroidered dupattas, and used every rupee to pay school fees. But she never bought herself anything. Not a new dress. Not a new pair of shoes. Whenever her children insisted, she would laugh and say, "What will I do with new clothes? My real jewelry is your success." Behind her laughter, though, was exhaustion. Some nights, when everyone was asleep, she sat alone, staring at the flickering lantern. Her face was calm, but her eyes carried oceans of unspoken sorrow. Years later, the day came when Ayesha received her scholarship to medical college. The whole village buzzed in disbelief. A girl from Shahida's poor home, becoming a doctor. Impossible. But it was true. On that day, Ayesha hugged her mother and cried, "Ammi, your prayers made this possible. I will make you proud, I promise." Shahida kissed her forehead, her own tears falling quietly. She didn't say much, she never did. But her heart whispered, "Wallah, let her shine brighter than I ever dreamed." Time, however, does not spare anyone. Shahida's health began to fail. Her back bent, her steps slowed, and her eyesight blurred. Yet she still worked, still prayed, still gave. One evening, she sat on her bed, too weak to move. Ayesha, now a young doctor, held her mother's fragile hands and whispered, "Ammi, you've carried us all our lives. Now let me carry you." Tears rolled down Shahida's cheeks, as she replied in a faint voice, "Beta, a mother doesn't need palaces, cars, or gold. Her only treasure is her children's happiness. And you are my treasure." That night, Shahida closed her eyes. Her lips were still moving, whispering something no one could hear. A silent prayer. Her last one. Shahida left this world quietly, just as she had lived, without demands, without complaints. But her silent prayers lived on, in the success of her children, in the respect her daughter earned, in the values her son carried. This is not just Shahida's story. It is the story of every mother who hides her hunger, swallows her tears, and offers her dreams so her children may live theirs. Remember this: behind every successful child, there is always a mother's silent prayer, echoing in the heavens.